Bitterly cold temperatures continue in the 4 states as snow chances begin to make their way in. Warming centers are opening in the area for those left out in the cold.
The Senate judges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment.
Former President Donald Trump acquitted in the impeachment trial. We're just hours away from Valentine's Day, sending some last-minute shoppers to local flower and chocolate shops.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Dangerously cold temperatures are already here, and snow is on its way to the 4 states. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Chris Warner. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now with what we can expect.
So far, no snow yet, Chris. In fact, we're fine up until about the midnight hour. But once we hit midnight, all these winter weather advisories in the blue and the winter storm warnings in the white, they will go into effect and they will not expire until we hit Monday. For the time being, though, there is nothing being picked up on the radar network. No rain, no snow to speak of. Thankfully, all we have to worry about with this system is snow and just snow. Earlier today, that was actually nice to see pockets of sun, something we haven't seen in about a week. Don't get used to it, though, because our next wave is already developing snow out in Colorado. That'll start to fill in across western Kansas, Oklahoma, and parts of Texas, and that will continue to develop into our area as we head toward tomorrow morning, especially during the overnight. Right now, though, it is cold. 8 in Iola, 16 in Grove, everyone else right in between. We fall back into the single digits tonight. Again, we're dry this evening, Chris, but as soon as we hit tomorrow morning through Monday, that's when our snow chances pick up. We'll talk about how much snow we'll expect over the next few days and the latest forecast for the week ahead coming up in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. And with those bitterly cold temperatures, there are some warming centers opening in the area. One of those is the Byers Avenue United Methodist Church in Joplin. Officials say they can only have 10 people at the most due to COVID restrictions. They've had a number of items donated to help those that are in need of shelter, including food and blankets. The church will also be providing snacks and a to-go treat bag for people in the morning when they leave.
For me, I just, as a Christian, I think of Jesus talking about how when we help the least of these, we are actually helping him. And so just kind of being his hands and feet and serving our community.
Now that shelter is open from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and is located at the corner of 17th and Byers in Joplin. The church is also providing masks, hand sanitizer, and even showers if needed. In addition to the Byers Avenue Warming Center, there are some others in the area. St. Paul's United Methodist Church on West 26th in Joplin will open tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and will open at that time each day, Sunday through Friday. In the city of Lamar, they're opening the Lamar Memorial Hall at 11th and Broadway from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They ask that you do not bring animals into the warming center. And for more information on that shelter, you're asked to call the Lamar Fire Department. In Miami, the New Hope Christian Church at 2221 Rockdale is open now until the need passes. And they are providing food, cots, blankets, and clothes to those who come in for shelter. In addition, there are several ways for you to get the latest weather information in your area. You can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. At the top of the page, there will be a current weather alerts, links to road conditions, and any cancellations in your area. Additionally, you can download the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You'll have the latest weather forecast and alerts all in the palm of your hand. Just head over to your favorite app store and search for the Skywatch weather app. Well, by a vote of 57 to 43, senators acquitted former President Trump in the historic second Senate impeachment trial. Earlier, the two sides presented closing arguments and reached a deal to skip witness testimony that could have significantly delayed the trial. CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry has more from Washington.
Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment.
A divided U.S. Senate voted to acquit former President Donald J. Trump on the impeachment charge he incited an insurrection.
Mr. Romney.
Guilty.
7 Republicans joined Democrats to vote guilty, but they did not reach the 2/3 majority needed for conviction. Earlier, House impeachment managers wrapped up their case, arguing Mr. Trump set the course for the deadly Capitol riot well before his speech to supporters that day.
The President of the United States summoned this mob, assembled this mob, and lit the flame of this attack. Everything that followed was his doing. None of this would have happened without the president.
Mr. Trump did not spend the weeks prior to January 6th inciting violence. He spent those weeks pursuing his election challenge through the court system and other legal procedures.
Lead House impeachment manager Jamie Raskin also said President Trump reveled in the riot and took no action to stop it.
As he further incited the mob during the attack, aiming it at Vice President Mike Pence himself, while failing to quell it in either of his roles as Commander-in-Chief or his real role that day, Inciter-in-Chief.
The defense continued to challenge the legitimacy of the Senate trial.
This has been perhaps the most unfair and flagrantly unconstitutional proceeding in the history of the United States Senate.
After his acquittal, Mr. Trump issued a statement saying in part, "This has been yet another phase of the greatest witch hunt in the history of our country. No president has ever gone through anything like it." Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Saturday morning, it had looked like the trial would be drawn out after a vote to depose a witness, but the two sides reached an agreement to move forward. The Fort Scott Chamber of Commerce hosted something that sounds pretty tasty, a chocolate crawl. But people weren't really crawling in chocolate, though that does sound like a good idea. The chocolate crawl encouraged folks to shop at local businesses and buy a number of different candies. Now, some of the businesses along the crawl included Bids and Dibs, Hedgehog Inc., and Moe's Bread.
We're just really glad here at Bids and Dibs that we have something like the Chamber that really supports the community and helps encourage all the people in the community to help spread love on the local businesses that have been hit pretty hard by COVID this year.
Now, some of the stores even had some giveaways taking place. Residents in Joplin were out shopping today for gifts ahead of Valentine's Day. Although with possible winter storms, businesses are gearing up in case they need to close early. We spoke with one store owner who explains her plans if she needs to shut down ahead of Valentine's Day.
All of our customers, we have their contact information, and we plan to either get a hold of them first thing in the morning before storms hit, or get a hold of them and let them know we can redo their orders on Monday. Most of our customers are very, very understanding with us.
Now, for now, that store plans to be open tomorrow from 9 to 1, but they are prepared should the weather take a turn. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Sergeant Stephen Wheeler served with the Army from 2005 to 2006 and was in Operation Iraqi Freedom, his hometown, Nevada. And we are proud to recognize Sergeant Stephen Wheeler, tonight's four-state hero. And remember, to see other heroes or to nominate one of your own, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's a look at today's top stories and a check of that wintry forecast on the KOAM News at 6. Still ahead, we'll hear more about the new CDC guidelines for schools to return to in-person learning. And we'll take a look at the week's top health stories. Much anticipated new guidance from the CDC for safely reopening schools. That includes a color-coded guide for a gradual reopening as the pandemic recedes and does not make vaccinating teachers a precondition. We get more on the plan from CBS's Meg Oliver.
Tonight, the nation's schools have their roadmap for reopening safely. It's the first science-based national strategy, according to the CDC. The agency recommending a color-coded system based on community spread of coronavirus. Schools in areas with lower transmission rates are blue and yellow, zones where in-person learning is recommended. Red zones are high transmission areas with the most restrictions. Elementary schools can remain open, while middle and high schools are recommended to go hybrid or virtual only. This is on top of safety mitigation strategies, including wearing masks, social distancing, cleaning, and contact tracing.
Today is a day of hope.
Randy Weingarten, president of the nation's most powerful teachers union, says it's welcome news after months of teacher protests across the country.
It's going to take that kind of trust and collaboration as a touchstone, as a key to convincing people. But it has to start with a roadmap of safety.
I miss being able to see their faces.
But some still aren't convinced, like pre-K teacher Adrienne Jones, who refuses to return to her Philadelphia elementary school until there are more safeguards.
I want to see a report that tells me that the buildings are safe to return with the ventilation, making sure that all of the other precautionary measures are in place.
Roughly 20 million children don't have the option to attend school in person. Their schools are remote only, and reports of mental health issues are growing.
We want to make sure that everything has been assessed and upgraded properly.
Maya McGeethy has one child in a Philadelphia public school. She doesn't trust the district.
Do you want to send your child back into school in person?
I want to, but not with the given current state of things, with the pandemic and the uncertainty of our ventilation systems.
Meg Oliver, CBS News.
Getting a baseline mammogram at 40 could reduce breast cancer deaths, and new guidance from the CDC says 2 masks are better than 1. Michael George has some of this week's top health stories.
The CDC says double masking can increase protection against the coronavirus. The government recommends wearing a cloth mask over a disposable one. New data this week shows masks are highly effective when worn correctly and with a good fit around the nose and sides of the face. Fewer older people are having strokes. Researchers in Denmark found declines in both major kinds of strokes in people aged 70 and older. They also found fewer people of all ages are dying of stroke. Having a baseline breast density assessment starting at age 40 may be the most effective way to reduce breast cancer deaths. Researchers from the University of Texas say to maximize that reduction, the initial assessment would be followed by annual screenings for women with dense breasts and screenings every other year starting at age 50 for women without dense breasts. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News.
Well, snow is on the way. Just when will it get here? Stick with us. Meteorologist Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast.
Let's dive right in. Winter weather advisories for most of southeast Kansas until 6 o'clock Monday morning. 69 corridor in Kansas, southwest Missouri until 6 Monday evening, and winter storm warnings in the white. Blanketing northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas until 6 Monday evening. So we have quite a storm system on the way. But even if you don't factor the snow in the forecast, it's going to be downright cold with the north wind in place for the next few days and temperatures quite cold. We have wind chill warnings, wind chill watches to keep an eye on as they could range between minus 15 and minus 30 over the next few days. Nothing right now on the radar network. We're fine through much of the evening up until about the midnight hour. In fact, it was actually nice to see breaks in the cloud cover. Surprised to see some sunshine finally return after what felt like a week going without the sun, but don't get used to it. We have our next band of snow developing out across eastern Colorado, beginning to fill in across northwestern parts of Kansas. That's going to continue to grow and move our way as we head through the overnight. Right now, the latest check of temperatures has everybody just cold. We just dropped into the mid-single digits this morning. At least we made it to 16 degrees this afternoon, thanks to the sunshine that peaked out. But it is cold out there right now. 11 in Joplin, feels like 4 below with a north breeze of 13. Air temperatures between 8 and 16 across the region. When you factor in the winds, it feels as warm, if you want to call it warm, as 8 in Grove and as cold as minus 7 over in Yates Center. Everyone will fall back into the single digits once we get past 6 o'clock this evening. In fact, 7 o'clock rather. And then everyone in the lower and the middle single digits for overnight lows tonight. Again, it was nice to see the sun, but we're going to go back into the clouds tonight as our next storm system finally begins to emerge out from the west. At the surface, high pressure, that's firmly in control, keeping us quite cold, and with plenty of cold air upstairs with that strong upper level low centered across the Canadian border. We have all the cold air upstairs in place. So as our next potent low coming out of Utah heads our way, fortunately, we don't have any freezing precip to worry about. It's just going to be all snow. Once we start to see these snow showers start to pick back up, you can see it already with the future track going to pick up the snow developing across Oklahoma at the midnight hour. Again, we're dry at midnight, but once we get closer to 6 a.m., that's when the snow begins to overtake the region. Light to moderate means some heavy bands of snow, especially along Interstate 44. There may be times once we go into the afternoon tomorrow, we might back things down to lighter snow, but we're just going to continue with periods of snow throughout the day, picking back up to light to moderate snow going through Sunday afternoon. As far as temperatures go, it is going to be cold. Forgot to update that for you, but you see on the surface map here, we only make it to 7 at best as we head through Sunday and Monday. As far as what to expect with the snow that could taper off by Monday morning, I think everybody has a good shot at picking up 4 to 7 inches in general, with any isolated amounts higher than 7 inches along the turnpike once you head southwest of Bonita. We have another quick look I wanted to quickly show you here. Once we get past this system, though, we might be quiet Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday, that could be another shot for accumulating snow before we finally see partly sunny skies by the end of next week, Chris, with temperatures finally back above freezing. Before we get there, though, 7 tomorrow, 5 on President's Day with periods of snow to watch, minus 10 for Tuesday morning before we bounce back to 15.
Well, with that 32 and 38 Friday and Saturday, you could almost switch that cold to warm because, I mean, it's going to feel nice compared to what we're in right now.
Absolutely. And if anybody missed the forecast, Chris, I'll do a Facebook Live on the KOAM News Now Facebook page at 7 o'clock this evening.
All right, Nick, looking forward to it, and thank you. Well, coming up in sports, the Pitt State women look to return from their road trip with a win against Missouri Western. Plus, today is day 2 of the Indoor Gorilla Classic, and Pitt State fared quite well.
Pitt State closes out its road trip today against Missouri Western. The Gorillas dominated in the first matchup between the two this season. They'll look to sweep the series. Kaylee Demitz kicking things off with a 3. She had a team-high 19 points this afternoon. Jamie Jackson here with the layup and 1. Gorillas lead by 1 after 1. Turnovers start to haunt Pitt. Camille Evans in transition. She gets the layup here. Western goes up at half. Into the fourth, Pitt opens on a 12-1 run, 6 of those from Erin Davis. Gorillas take a 9-point lead. Final minute here, Evans again, layup in transition to go ahead. She gets it. Western scores the ball game's final 13 points and wins it 68-64. As for the men, they're coming off a tough loss against the number 3 ranked team in Northwest Missouri. They saw their 5-game win streak come to a close on Thursday. Pitt State struggles again tonight. It's been a tough trip for the Gorillas. A heartbreaker this one, going down to the wire. Missouri Western tops Pitt State 82-81. Quentin Hardrick Jr. posted 24 points. Antonio Givens finished with 20. Also on the road, both Missouri Southern's men's and women's basketball squads are traveling this weekend. The women struggle in the fourth quarter. They fall to the Bearcats 78-55. Maddie Stokes had the team-high 15 points. The men, with a similar fate, they dropped this one 83-69. Freshman Lawson Jenkins comes away with 26 points. And it was day 2 and the final day of the Indoor Gorilla Classic. Pitt State looks to close out on a high note as their next time in action will be the MIAA Indoor Championships. In the shot put, Pitt State's Sam Tamish gets second place. 15.38 meters is his best. Cole Sample right behind him with a mark good for third place. His best today is 15.28 meters. In the 60-meter dash, here's Christine Williams. She places third with a time of 7.66 seconds. And Haven Lander, she sets a personal record today. She clears 13 feet, 8.25 inches on the pole vault. That's the top mark in all of Division II this year. She also beat her own Pitt State school record.
I feel really good. It was definitely kind of a tough challenge going from running the 60 right back to pole vault. I haven't done that in a while, but I felt like I was able to handle it really well, was able to get back in the rhythm of it, even though some of my jumps weren't the best, but it was definitely good, and it was good to see some awesome competition today.
That's it for sports. We'll be back with more news after this.
Tonight on the KOAM News at 10, we'll have the latest forecast from Nick Kelly as the brutally cold weather continues and snow chances move in, plus where some area warming shelters are for the homeless and those in need. And we'll tell you how last-minute Valentine's Day shopping has been going in the area. Those stories and a lot more tonight on the KOAM News at 10. Speaking of that forecast, quick final look with Nick.
Accumulating snow tomorrow and Monday, Chris. High 7 on Sunday, 5 Monday. We'll try to go back to 15 on Tuesday.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And that's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 10. Thank you for making us part of your night.